Hello, in this video we will discuss about the evolution of multicellular colony from unicellular. So how it's possible, let's begin to understand. So remember, here we will understand with the basic understanding through our autotrophs. So the autotrophs is developing first in this video for autotroph lifestyle also. So this is the after the eukaryote formation. So the multicellularity will be arise. So how it's possible? Let's begin to understand. Here is the multicellular more protective than unicellular. Why? Because the cell injury as well as the food and mood of nutrition and the mood of movement, so that all thing is required. The multicellularity is more adaptive as compared to the single cell. So the multicellular help to each other after injury of the cell, asexual reproduction by the replacement of old injured cell in the same colony. So remember that. And let's begin to understand. Here is the cell. This is the autotrophic cell, unicellular and eukaryote. And this is the protist, which contain a flagella for use the movement individuals, the single cell individual. This is the single cell eukaryote contain true nucleus as well as the organelle chloroplast. So remember the light. Light is important for the photosynthesis for this cell. So it if the requirement of the food, so it will move toward the light. So the positive phototactic movement will be occur. While the cyclosis also occur within the cell intracellularly, the movement of organelle as a chloroplast. So here the nucleus, and this is the negative phototactic movement. This negative phototactic movement is used for the away. So it basically also reproduce into two cell interdependent. This is the cell is the interdependent, inside is depend. So the light can injure cells, so it is not easy to escape because the area of light much more. So it means the colony development is very crucial. How? Let's begin to understand first. So here I am drawing the colony is the circular form. So remember, this is the circular form colony of the cell. This is the autotrophic colony. It is the multicellularity enhancement structure. So in this way, this cell will be reproduced also asexually and aligned together, not separate independently but dependent to each other. So when light will be fall on these cells, it is produce the photosynthesis. So remember, it can be rotate means the less light required cell for less photosynthesis, because the rich food containing cells will be move and rotate. In this way, the more light required cell for photosynthesis will be show the front of the light, so front of the sun. So that is why it is very important. So the those cell which require less light, so it will be move, and in this way the high light intensity detected and absorption will be exposed. So remember, here is the less food content containing cell will face the light, while the high food content will rest. As a rest, it means the less light direction will prefer by this through a flagellated movement. So here is an important thing is that the colony is the basically can be irregular, circular, filamentous, rhizoid, and convex. So the early multicellular organisms with specialized interdependent cells. Inter mean depend to each other. The cells in not intra but inter. So more than one cell which that depend to each other. So the mutualism, commensalism is used for the protection from environment. So what is mutualism and commensalism? We will discuss in later in this video. So here you can see the second step is basically the more specialization. How it's possible? So the Early multicellular organism with specialized interdependent cell depend to each other. Here is the food synthesis cells with outer protection via flagellated cell. So here is the light will be fall. So remember that it will become a specialized cell contain chlorophyll, but this flagellated cell will shift the chlorophyll into the another specialized. So this is the more specialization as compared to the previous colony, because the previous colony work collectively for the movement and photosynthesis, but here is the job will be different. So this is the photosynthetic cell will move inside, while the flagellated cell will become heterotrophic, sorry, because it will not synthesize food, while inside is the autotrophic. So the third step is the basically the sexual reproduction will be enhanced. In this way, the somatic cells basically the sexual reproduction is also occurring in the individually cell via sexual contact, but we will not understand with the detail. But here you can see the gamete formation through meiosis. So the gametogenesis will be occur and haploid formation. This haploid cell come from the different colony will be fertilized, and after this fertilization it is fertilized, and somatic cells also reproduce asexually, and inside you can see this is the autotrophic cell will become autotrophic, while the outer flagellated cell will become a heterotrophic. Both type of cell live in the form of colony. So here the later basically the later formation of the fertilization, isogamy fertilization type, and in this way the both gametes are same, but the haploid to form a diploid, and to form a somatic cell will be reproduce again asexually. To reproduction of somatic cell will produce the colony, and this is the result of mitosis. The colony will be formed from the haploid to diploid again, and this diploid to again formation of the colony, and differentiation of the cells and specialization of the cell will again produce, and that colony will be formed the specialized cell. For example, the heterotrophic cell contain a flagellated, while the autotrophic cells contain a non-motile, which that will live inside, for example, for the photosynthesis, and the outer cell used for the protection. So that is the important things you should need to understand. So this is the cycle will continuously, and the food as well as other shelter processes will lead to adaptation, and this adaptation will lead to move through a natural selection. After the natural selection, this if the colony will be more adaptable, and this colony can transfer their gene into their next generation, otherwise it can be aborted from the environment. So here is the symbiosis. It is basically the mutual relationship in which two different organisms belong to different species or same species and interact to each other. And this symbiosis type is the mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. So what is mutualism? First of all, we should need to understand the mutualism means the two different type of cell which that is belong to the different species, and in this way the different cell will benefit to each other. Both are beneficial. For example, here you can see this is the cell which that's contain autotrophs, because contain chloroplast and chlorophyll, use the light and carbon dioxide and water to produce the glucose, but also produce the oxygen. But important thing is that here is the non-motile cell, and that was the motile, and this is the non-motile heterotroph, which that use the sugar but also absorb the water and provide the water to the other cell, uh, autotrophic cell. So the heterotrophic and autotrophic mutualism both are beneficial to each other, because both are sharing the content to each other for solving the problem. So here you can see the commensalism means the one cell related to that one species and the other cell related to the other species, both are interact to each other, and the one is motile and other is also motile. But important thing is that the autotrophic cell will give the glucose to the heterotrophic cell, and in this way the heterotrophic cell will not give anything. So here you can see this is the parasitism. In this way the host cell heterotroph will be use the energy food from the autotrophs or other cell as a parasitically, and also cause the infection to the cell and lead to death and damage the partner. So this is damage the partner for consumption of protein, fats and vitamin as well as sugar. So this was the type of mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism, which that play important role for the evolutionary process. And in this way, the mutualism is very important and crucial for the evolution. How it's possible? Because the early time of the life, so in this way the lichen formation will be occurring. In this way the fungi and alga, which that will be fungus and alga combined together, and inside is the fungus for example, and it is known as the lichen. And fungal provide the water and also the amino acid and the nitrogen containing compound to the cell, surrounded cell, and surrounded cell will autotrophs. So this autotroph and decomposer inside, which decompose the organic matter to provide the amino acid and other things and amine group. So in this way the water will absorb also from the fungal cell, and in this way the water will use for the photosynthetic cell, the autotrophs colony surrounded by the fungus cell. So in this way remember that light is required and the oxygen will produce from the algal cell, and photosynthesis will occur through a fixation of carbon dioxide to produce the glucose, and that glucose will be consumed via a fungi, and the extra glucose will use to the fungal cell will use the extra glucose from the autotrophic cell, for example the algal cell. So the mutualism as a survival, basically it help to each other, and this help to each other will lead to increase the adaptation of the individual species, and in this way the more radiation will be occur, and the adaptation due to high protective condition, and this colony able to reproduce sexually and asexually, and more their genes transfer in offspring from parent lead to more chances to recombine their gene and adaptation and survival in the environment due to the recombination, because more reproduction will lead to more recombination and more survival of the species, and radiation to next more evolution will be able to reproduce more due to the there are many reasons, but here we will not understand, but you should need to understand the basic concept of the evolution of multicellular colony from the unicellular. So I hope you make sense about this. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe.